So buddy messaged me after I posted the $1 million video or whatever, and he asked, hey man, I've been following your stuff and videos for years now. I'm always trying to learn something from you. Appreciate you, man. I know it's a random question and the answers are endless, but if you have a second, would you or what should I invest a couple $100,000 in? I've been racking my brain for almost a year now. I have rental properties, but I'm looking for something else. I'm just going to respond to him via your message here. So if you already have rental properties, then that's a really good thing. I would honestly look into more rental properties. I wouldn't try to just jump out of the most solid type of investment you can make. I would just try to make that money go even further inside of that. It really depends on what your active income is, depending on how you use that money. If you have a large active income, then you can reinvest all of it or mostly all of it into like larger asset. But I don't necessarily recommend like reinvest, let's say that 200,000 or a couple 100,000 into, let's say, a syndication, because it's not going to help you out very much. And a syndication is essentially a large commercial asset that people are gathering money for. I wouldn't necessarily put the money into that, because you're not going to in the next year have another $200,000 potentially, depending on your active income levels, in order to repeat that over again. Compared to, you can take this $200,000 and you can turn it into 10 single family residences, and it could produce you more passive income on top of the equity and everything else. So there's that. So staying in real estate is definitely a really good idea. However, I want to first say, okay, make sure you have the foundation with that money. So let's just say, for example, you don't already have 4 months of emergency savings, and you don't have 6 months reserve. Then I wouldn't necessarily be spending that. So figure out what you have, make sure you have a solid foundation on your actual bank accounts, and then figure out how much excess you have after that. If that excess is $200,000 or $300,000, then now we can take that and we can start putting it somewhere. What I would do if you already have rentals, while you look for other rentals, is make sure you start doing some dollar cost averaging into a Vanguard account. And so S&P 500, do that on a monthly basis. You can initially fund it with, let's say, 50 grand, and then every single month just put more money into it, which you can use to tap into the money you already have. But in addition to your monthly excess revenue that you're making and your active income. But ultimately, your goal right now should be trying to figure out, okay, how do I take my current income and leverage it with the reserve capital that I have to get enough passive income coming in from rental properties or dividends in stocks to create financial freedom, meaning that the income that you're receiving from your investments is more than what you need to survive. And then your active income at that point is just cash flow for you to reinvest and compound the results of that. But anyway, to recap that, find some more real estate deals to put money into. The perfect thing would be 2 to 4 plexes, or even a 5 to 16 plex, depending on where you're located and where you're investing into. You can get into one of those with that kind of cash flow, or with that kind of sum of money that you have ready, and watch out for those, but don't spend the money until you find the right deal. In the meantime, build a solid foundation with getting some dollar cost averaging going into the S&P 500 or VT-SAX, using a Vanguard account that you manage. Don't go to some other management brokerage or anything like that, because they're going to be basically sucking 2% of your profits or the money that you put in to pay themselves. And get that going, and figure out kind of what your total income is, and then break it down into certain percentages to dollar cost average moving forward into that Vanguard account, into a real estate account, and into like a cash account, what I call a wealth capture account, to reinvest into other assets. And then after you have that flowing, you should have, okay, well, all your money should be accounted for on a monthly basis, and you're spending money to go, hunting and, camping and buying new guns and all that other shit would be inside of another account, that's called your living wealthy account. And I'll send you a video that I have on my YouTube channel that breaks down all these different bank accounts that you should set up. And then you can get that foundation. You can use this money that you have set aside to make sure all those bank accounts are funded properly. And then after that's done, now you can kind of say, okay, let me distribute this money on a monthly basis to these different locations. But anyway, I know that's kind of like a little all over, but without some additional information on kind of where you're at financially, on through your active income and what rental properties you already have and all that other kind of stuff. That's the best I can really do for you right now. Hopefully that helps, man. I'll send you that YouTube video over where I cover those different bank accounts, and hopefully that helps. Later, man. And thanks for the kind words.